We are going to go to upstate New York, actually, around Rochester, and I want to introduce you to a woman called Magdalena Cruz. So the year is 2019, and Magdalena is 33 years old at this point. There were a lot of unanswered questions in Magdalena's life because she grew up not knowing who her father was. She only knew one thing, actually, that she was a child born as a result of rape.
Okay. So she knows her biological father is a rapist, which is heavy, as is knowing that her mother had to live with that herself.
And talking of mothers, the case that I brought you today is actually mostly about Magdalena Cruz's mother. And it's important to say right now up top that I can't tell you what her real name is. She's still alive today, actually. She's in her late 60s, and we're going to call her Olivia throughout this story, okay?
Okay. So Olivia.
Yeah, Olivia. But Olivia, you see, is not a person who we would ever have expected to be pregnant at any point in her life. She's lived in care homes since the age of 10, and Olivia has an IQ of less than 20. So she's nonverbal. That means she can't speak. She can only make really sort of quite basic noises. She's never been able to use the toilet by herself, meaning that she has to wear nappies.
So this is a case of extreme lack of capacity, right? It's pretty clear cut that she was unable to consent. And yet, Olivia, being as severely disabled as she is, has been raped and made pregnant.
So as you can imagine, when I found out this about what had happened to her, I had a lot of questions going through my head about how this had happened. But it turns out, so does her daughter Magdalena. So in 2019, she plucks up the courage to demand the answers, actually, first from the authorities and then from what becomes her own dogged investigation.
Okay, so from everything we know so far, the first thing here is that Magdalena's mother, Olivia, was raped in a home that was supposed to be caring for her very challenging needs.
Exactly. So this home was called the Monroe Developmental Center in Rochester, which at the time was under the control of the New York State Authority. So I guess Magdalena has always been curious. But when she reaches out to the care home, she wants to have a look through her mum Olivia's documents, she gets a really unexpected, harrowing bombshell. Because as a lawsuit, which Magdalena is bringing at the moment alleges, there just wasn't the thorough investigation done that you would expect for something like this.
Which is horrifying.
Yeah. So remember, the point at which Magdalena gets access to these documents, we're 30 years on at this point, and still no one was named in those documents.
Right. Hence not knowing who her father is.
Yes,
right, yeah.
Exactly. So because she doesn't have those answers about who her father, who the rapist is, she decides to try and take matters into her own hands. And in the autumn of 2019, she decides to take the plunge and orders
a DNA test?
An at-home DNA test to see if there's any remote chance, any way a match could be found for someone, you know, who shared her genes. So Magdalena gets the results. They tell her that she has some potential relatives in Virginia, which is a few states down from where she is. And she does what even the best journalists of us do first, heads straight to Facebook to check the names. And sure enough, there is a man that she finds in a photo who looks just like her. And later
creepy.
on, I know, it would be quite surreal, wouldn't
Yeah.
it? But she describes it as like an instant recognition.
Oh, it's like, that's my nose. Or
That's my
eyes.
That's my eyes.
Oh. So to live a life not knowing and then see a photo that you just know is part you or the other way around, that you are part them. Yeah. But still, so Virginia, that's not that close to where she is.
Yeah, and she has to use these newly found detective skills a lot more because she manages to find out that although the wider family that she's managed to locate live in Virginia, that one man in the photo, where does he live? In Rochester, in New York. So she's edging closer.
Yeah. And so did this man have a connection to the Monroe Developmental Center or this care home?
Well, that man in the Facebook photo, his name matches the initials of a person who was listed in that document that she found, that she got from the care home. So she goes straight to the police. It turns out that the man in the photo was the caretaker at the facility where Olivia was.
Wow. Is there any kind of prosecution? Has he been sort of brought to justice?
In the US, these types of cases are time barred. There's a statute of limitations, which is based on state laws out there. So the charges can't be brought because too long has elapsed, unlike in the UK, where we have unlimited sort of period of time in which cases of rape can be brought, but that only applies to criminal prosecutions. So we did try to track him down to give him the chance to give his side of things, but we couldn't trace him. However, when the New York magazine spoke to him around a sort of year ago, he maintains his innocence.